Most governments throughout history have looked remarkably simple from the outside. One person held the power. One person made the decisions. One will move the machinery forward. It seemed efficient. It seemed natural. Kingdoms, empires, city-states, they all reached for the same basic shape because it appeared to work. The American founders understood this pull. They'd studied it across centuries and continents. But they'd also just finished a war against a king who embodied exactly why that simplicity was dangerous. King George III wasn't a tyrant in some abstract sense. He was a specific man with specific powers that the American colonists had learned to fear very directly. He could make war without asking anyone. He could spend money without permission. He could appoint judges loyal only to him. He could dissolve legislatures that disagreed with him. The problem wasn't that government existed. It was that government, once concentrated in one person's hands, had no internal way to stop itself. The founders had looked at the English Parliament. They knew it existed. They studied how it worked. But they decided they needed something different, a system where power was not balanced against an external enemy, but against itself. Congress controls the purse. This is the first real break. A president cannot wage war without money. Congress will not fund what it opposes. This isn't poetic or metaphorical. It is concrete. No appropriation bill means no salaries for soldiers, no bullets, no fuel. A legislature that controls spending controls whether the executive can act for long. But Congress cannot enforce the laws it writes. That is the president's job. The executive branch carries out what the legislative branch designed. This separation is not arbitrary. Making a law and enforcing it require different skills, different perspectives, different accountability. They need to live in different hands. Then there are courts. They do not make laws or enforce them. They examine whether the laws and actions that exist fit within the Constitution's boundaries. This third function, interpretation and constitutional guardrail, only made sense as a separate power when a judge could say no to both Congress and the president with equal authority. The founders built in interlocking mechanisms. The Senate confirms judges and cabinet members the president selects. This means the president cannot simply choose loyalists. Congress can override a presidential veto if enough members agree. A president can refuse to sign a law but cannot ignore one that passes anyway. Treaties the executive negotiates must be ratified by the Senate. Impeachment, the only real tool for removing a sitting president or judge, belongs to Congress. Each branch can obstruct the others in specific ways. Mutual obstruction is the design itself, not a malfunction. This creates slowness. Compromise becomes necessary because no single person or body ever wins completely. Some of the founders hated this feature. Others saw it as the entire point, that good government should be hard, not because the people governing are incompetent, but because concentrated power tends toward misuse. A system of separated branches does not prevent corruption within any single branch. It does not stop a popular leader from gathering informal power outside the system's formal mechanisms. It requires constant participation and attention to function. It offers no guarantees, but it does provide something the single leader model never could, an internal mechanism for saying no.